This is about the 7th take I've done on this, so fingers crossed. Okay, chapters 25 and 26 last time around asked, where had the woman with the Zimmer frame walked? Well, she'd walked 3 times round every landing and 3 times up and down in the lift. Michael, at some point in these 2 chapters, holds his sad feelings about the baby close to his heart. Can you explain why this might help him? So I suggested, instead of ignoring or burying his feelings, Michael listens to his feelings so they aren't a surprise to him. And for you as well, not just Michael, but for all of us, this is a good technique for looking after yourself and ourselves when we've had an upsetting experience. Down to the vocabulary question, which asked, can you look up the word descendants in an actual or online dictionary and put it into a sentence of your own? So given everything that's happening to do with Black Lives Matter, and of course in Bristol, some protesters took down the statue of Edward Colston, who was a big name and a big profiter from the slave trade. I popped that word. The descendants of slaves and slave traders have to live with this harrowing time in history. Descendants being the people that are descended from or related to others. This time around, chapters 27, 28, 29. What can you infer about how Mina feels about Michael's friends? And do you think Michael and Mina will take Leaky and Coot to meet Skellig? And can you summarise what happened after Mina and Michael fell out with each other? Chapter 27. What's wrong with you? They kept asking. I meant to say, in these 3 chapters there's a tiny bit of swearing, so I will change it where I can. Think on the spot. What's wrong with you? I kept asking. What's wrong with you? I was hopeless. I couldn't tackle. I missed the ball by a mile when I jumped up to head it. When I had the ball at my feet, I stumbled all over the place. I fell over it once and skinned my elbow on the curb. I felt shaky and wobbly, and I didn't want to be doing this. Playing football in our front street with Leaky and Coot while Mina sat in the tree with a book in her lap and stared and stared. It's because he's been ill, said Leaky. Rubbish, said Coot. He's not been ill. He's just been upset. He watched me trying to flick the ball up onto my head. It bounced off my knee and bobbed into the gutter. I'm just out of practice, I said. Rubbish, he said. It's just been a week since you could beat anybody in school. That's right, said Leaky. It's her, said Coot. It's her in the tree. That lass he was with. Leaky grinned. That's right, he said. I shook my head. Rubbish, I whispered. My voice was shaky as my feet had been. It's that lass, said Leaky. That lass that climbs in a tree like a monkey, said Coot. Her that sits in a tree like a crow. Rubbish, I said. I looked Leaky in the eye. He'd been my best friend for years. I couldn't believe he'd go on with this. If I looked him in the eye and wanted him to stop. He grinned. He holds hands with her, he said. She says he's extraordinary, said Coot. Get stuffed, I said. I turned away from them, went past our house to the end of the street, turned down towards the back lane. I heard them coming after me. I sat down in the lane with my back against the boarded-up garage. I just wanted them to go away. I wanted them to stay. I wanted to be able to play like I used to. I wanted things to be just the way they used to be. Leaky crouched beside me, and I could feel he was sorry. The baby's ill, I said, really ill. The doctor says I'm in distress. Yeah, he said. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Coot kicked the ball back and forward against the boards. Don't do that, I said. You'll knock it down. He sniggered. All right. He went on doing it. Don't do it, I said. I got up and grabbed him by the scruff of the neck. Stop doing it, I said. He sniggered again. Doing what, Michael? He said in a high girlish voice. I shoved him back against the garage. I thumped my hand against the boards beside his head. He winked at Leaky. See what I mean? He said. I thumped the boards beside his head again. There was a loud crack and the whole garage trembled. Coot jumped away. We stared at the boards. "Bloomin' heck," said Leaky. There was another crack and another shudder, and then silence. I opened the gate into the wilderness and we tiptoed inside. We stared through the door into the gloomy garage. Dust was falling thicker than ever through the light. There was another crack. "Bloomin' heck," said Coot. "I'd better get my dad," I said. Chapter 28. Very gently, using a little hammer and long thin nails, he nailed some boards across the door. The garage trembled as he worked. He told us to keep back. We stood in the wilderness, staring, shaking our heads. He got some black gloss paint and wrote "Danger" across the boards. He brought some Coke for us and some beer for himself, and we all sat against the house wall and stared at the garage. "Better get it made safe, eh?" said Dad. "My uncle's a builder," said Coot, "always doing garages and extensions and things." "Aye," said Dad. "He'd tell you to knock the whole thing down and start again." "Aye." "Aye. Some folk fight to keep things that should have been smashed years back." I looked at the garage and imagined it gone, saw the big emptiness that would take its place. "Aye," said Coot again. "He says the best jobs start with a massive sledgehammer and a massive skip." He swigged his Coke. The blackbird flew onto the edge of the garage roof and perched there. I knew it would be watching the wilderness, looking for beetles and fat worms for its babies. "He wants us gone," I said. Coot cocked his finger and thumb like a gun. He eyed the bird as if he was aiming. "Gotcha," he said, and his hand recoiled as if he'd fired. Dad told Leaky and Coot it was good to see them again. "Michael's been moping," he said. "A good kickabout with his mates will be just what the doctor ordered." "Not against the garage, though," said Leaky. "Not against the blinking garage, no." He took the ball and went through the house into the front street again. Mina wasn't there. I played better now, but I couldn't help turning to the empty tree. I imagined her alone with Skellig in the dark house. I caught them laughing at me. "Missing her already?" said Coot. I raised my eyes and tried to grin. I went to sit on our front garden wall. "Who is she, anyway?" said Leaky. I shrugged. "She's called Mina." "What school's she at?" "She doesn't go to school." They looked at me. "How's that?" said Leaky. "Plays the wag?" said Coot. "Her mother teaches her," I said. They looked again. "Bloomin' heck," said Leaky. "I thought you had to go to school." "Imagine it," said Coot. They imagined it for a while. "Lucky sod," said Leaky. "What'll she do for mates, though?" said Coot. "And who'd like to be stuck at home all day?" "They think schools stop you from learning," I said. "They think schools try to make everybody just the same." "That's rubbish," said Coot. "Aye," said Leaky. "You're learning all day long in school." I shrugged. "Maybe." "Is that why you've not been coming in?" said Leaky. "Is it because you're never coming back? You're going to let that lass's mother teach you?" "Course not," I said. "But they're going to teach me some things. Like modelling with clay and about William Blake." "Who's he?" said Coot. "That bloke that's got the butcher's shop in town." He said, "School drives all joy away," I said. "He was a painter and a poet." They looked at each other and grinned. Leaky couldn't look me in the eye. I could feel my face burning and burning. "Look," I said, "I can't tell you anything, but the world's full of amazing things." Coot sighed and shook his head and bounced the ball between his knees. "I've seen them," I said. Leaky stared at me. I imagined taking him through the danger door, taking him to Skellig, showing him. For a moment I was dying to tell him that I'd seen and what I'd touched. "There she is," said Coot. We turned together, and there was Mina climbing into the tree again. "The monkey girl," said Leaky. Coot giggled. "Hey," he said. "Maybe Rasputin's right about that evolution stuff. He could come and have a look at her and see there's monkeys all around us still." Chapter 29. Her eyes were cold as she stared down at me from the tree. Her voice was sarcastic and sing-song. "Thank God I was never sent to school to be flogged into following the style of a fool." "You know nothing about it," I said. "We don't get flogged and my friends aren't fools." "Ha! That's it," I said. "You know nothing about it. You think you're special, but you're just as ignorant as anybody. You might know about William Blake, but you know nothing about what ordinary people do. Ha! Yes, ha! I stared at my feet. I picked my fingernails. I kicked the garden wall. They hate me, she said. I could see it in their eyes. They think I'm taking you away from them. They're stupid. They're not stupid. Stupid? Kicking balls and jumping at each other and screeching like hyenas. Stupid. Yes, hyenas. You as well. Hyenas? They think you're a monkey, then. Her eyes glared and her face burned. See what I mean? They know nothing about me, but they hate me. And of course you know everything about them. I know enough. There's nothing to know. Kicking, screeching, being stupid. Ha! Yes, ha! And that little ginger one. Blake was little and ginger. How do you know that? See, you think nobody but you can know anything. No, I don't. Ha! Her lips were pressed tight together. She pressed her head back against the trunk of the tree. Go home, she said. Go and play stupid football or something. Leave me alone. I gave the wall a last kick. Sorry. Then I left her. I went into my front garden. I went through the open front door. Dad shouted hello from somewhere upstairs. I went straight through into the wilderness and squatted there and squeezed my eyes tight and tried to stop the tears. Okay. Right, next time. I think another 3 chapters next time so that we have a chance of finishing the book before the end of term. On another note, if you want to go to the playlist for Year 6, then Miss Cox, Miss Hill and Miss Morton, between them, as well as some celebrities, are reading from the first of the Harry Potter books. It is in the style of a book above pay grade. We'll carry on with Skellig, but those video clips are there for you to see. Okay? Till next time, bye!